during that 2-month period when I was living with the devotees, Prabhupada would encourage me in different ways to become more of a devotee. One time I was a bit reluctant to bow down. And I was taking pictures all the time anyway. That was like an excuse. And then he sent one of his disciples to ask me to, pay obeisances when he came in. And I didn't have any hesitation doing that. I had great respect and actually love for Prabhupada. And then at one time I shaved off my mustache. And he said, and I came in front of him, he said, "Oh, that is very nice. You look very good." So in this way, with small exchanges, he was encouraging me in my service. So we started in 1973 out of New York City to do the Hare Krishna people. And it was finished at Mayapur Festival in 1974. We premiered it. And that was shown in Prabhupada's room to all the GBC members, including Prabhupada. And he very much appreciated it. In fact, I didn't have it on the right voltage. It was a 110 machine. I was playing with a transformer, but the cycles was, how that works. It doesn't play the right speed. So we had to show it. We had to premiere it at a real low, slow speed and low voice. It was traumatic for me. But all the devotees, including Prabhupada, sat there and loved it. Every time I filmed Prabhupada, he was totally himself. It's not like a person usually is in front of a camera. But he was completely natural and never had any airs or never had to do a retake, in other words. I never had to stop Prabhupada and tell him to do this, because of course that would have been the wrong thing to do anyway. But in fact that happened one time. We were filming the Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, and I forget who stopped Prabhupada from speaking, but he didn't like that at all. The tape recorder wasn't working properly. And I think there was an exchange between myself and Bhargava, who was operating the tape recorder. So it was finally explained to Prabhupada what the problem is, and he turned to Bhargava and said, the tape recorder is useless, and you are useless. Right after Los Angeles, when I was filming Prabhupada's daily activities for about a month, he traveled to Denver, and I flew. I didn't tell him I was coming, but I flew also there to continue filming. I just wanted to film as much as I could. So I'd set up bright lights in front of the Vyasa-san, and he came in and he saw the lights, and he was disturbed. They were very bright, too bright. And Brahmananda, his secretary, was saying, "Why did he come? Why did he?" So Prabhupada called me in and he said, "Whether I'm sitting here or in Los Angeles, what is the difference? What is the need for more shooting?" So he sort of cut me off at that point. But then he was very concerned what I was going to do, what service I'd have if I had to go back. And at that point we had a film project to do, a film in New Vrindavan later called The Spiritual Frontier. So I was impressed that Prabhupada was concerned about the service, what I would do. If I was not doing this, what I would do next. He was always very concerned like that for his devotees. I wasn't filming at the time, but I was in, I believe, Denver again. And I had just gone on a kind of a diet to try to get my health back from India, and it didn't work. I lost a lot of weight and I was very sick. So at that time, the diet was sort of being discussed, these fasts and all that. And Tamal Krishna Goswami brought up to Prabhupada that devotees are involved in this, and I had just gone through this experience. So I chimed up at one point. I said, "Yes, Prabhupada, these diets are bogus." And Prabhupada stopped all of a sudden, and everybody stopped and got close to listen to him. And Prabhupada looked at me and he said, "The diet is bogus, or you are bogus?" So it's not, we create the diet and we embrace it. So we're the bogus persons. We can't blame the diet as such. I forget the year, but one time I was with Prabhupada at his arrival in Pittsburgh, and I was walking backwards as he was coming down the aisle. And a devotee had paid obeisances right behind me. I tripped and fell. My camera went, it shows in the film what the camera did. But I was on the ground as Prabhupada walked by. He just looked at me, He was unfazed. I was very fazed. I was with Prabhupada in 1973 when George Harrison came to his room at the Manor. And George had a tape that he wanted to play Prabhupada. It was a song called "Krishna, Where Are You?" And not many devotees have heard that. It's a nice melody and nice words. And Prabhupada appreciated it. He said, "Yes, this is the mood, searching for Krishna. This is the proper mood, looking for Krishna." And he sat back and heard the song, was tapping his leg as he heard it. And he and George had a very nice relationship. They'd laugh together, and they'd be alone in Prabhupada's room together, and just telling stories and laughing, and they had a very, very nice relationship. In the filming of Prabhupada, some things stand out in my mind. One incident was on the roof of the Bombay apartments in the back before the temple was built, and Prabhupada would speak every evening there in the twilight hours. So one time the local residents dressed up small girls, 8, 9, 10-year-old girls, and they came out before Prabhupada and garlanded him, all of them, and then they did a dance, which I filmed. I filmed the garlanding and the dance. But later on, when I looked at that film and was editing it, I noticed that Prabhupada didn't look at the girls. He had his head in the bead bag, and he would look down, and he would look over, and he would look up, and he never looked at the girls. So this was his showing the way of an ideal sannyasi. One time in Mayapur, I believe it was 74 or 75, Sridhar Maharaj came to visit Prabhupada, and he had to be carried up the steps. He was older, weak in condition. When he got to the room, there was some discussion between he and Srila Prabhupada, very affectionate, close discussion, intimate discussion. And then Sridhar Swami, out of ecstasy, started to lead a kirtan. He started singing Hari Bol, really wonderfully. And then he jumped up out of the chair. And as he got up, everybody got up and started dancing. And there's one picture of that, a black and white picture of that, in an old Vyasa Puja book, of Srila Prabhupada and the devotees behind him, very blurred, sort of jumping up and down. And Sridhar Maharaj is not in the picture, but it was a very wonderful time, that meeting. During Srila Prabhupada's last days in Vrindavan, I got the opportunity to massage him one time, and I was concerned I didn't give him pain. So I asked Prabhupada, are you feeling pain? And Prabhupada looked at me like, what kind of question is that? Like, and he answered no. But I could see that he was just completely aloof from his bodily condition. And in the last purports that some of which I filmed, that third volume in the 10th canto, they're very lucid and clear. So Prabhupada's physical condition was deteriorated, but his consciousness was perfectly clear, perfectly Krishna conscious.